When we heard that the courthouse was going to be coming open, we were very excited about that, and we decided that this would be a great place for us to house the museum and also other types of venues for people to learn more about the county and our history.
One of the really interesting things about history is that you can use a small place, an isolated place, as an example of a much larger point. So here in Effingham County, the things that are true about us, the things that are true about how this was founded, how it grew, is sort of a microcosm of what's happened in a lot of places around the country.
Although the courthouse is located in Effingham, it's not about Effingham. It's about Altamont, it's about Teutopolis, it's about Beecher City, it's about Dietrich, it's about the other Shumway, it's about the other communities that are outside of Effingham as well. We're gonna definitely show those venues as well, in addition to what went on here in Effingham proper.
As we look at the courthouse project, the things that we see possible there are, in terms of displays, are the things that will make Effingham County unique in the minds of the people who live here, as well as in the minds of the people who pass by and stop to visit us. And as a result of that, then more of a sense of rootedness for our local citizens. We hope to make sure that schools are visiting on a regular basis because we see the museum as an educational tool, very, very important educational tool.
Many of us feel our children's children are not going to have a concept of where they came from. We need to educate the public about our roots here in Effingham, and to do that, I think you have to have a common place, which would be this courthouse, to explain about our ancestors, where they came from, what their values were, why they settled here, what the community and what the county has become, not just Effingham, but the surrounding communities as well. That's one of the big things that we want to really stress here.
I think I knew fairly early in my life that I wanted to be a storyteller, and that revolved around history, and it revolved around helping some of my classmates understand more about a historical figure. And to me, that's what was fascinating about him, is the personal part of that. What is the same? What is different? Everywhere I go, I tend to look at buildings, for instance, as witnesses. Who went through the doorway here? What were they thinking? What was their life like? What was on their mind when they did this? And I think that's what's important about history, is that we connect it with people and stories.
We had a poet down at Mason, for instance, Dr. James Newton Matthews, who was well known throughout the whole country, knew the major figures of his time period, Mark Twain, for instance, James Whitcomb Riley, for instance, and whenever we look at this man, he just had this genius as a poet. If you were to look at the magazines of the time period, the newspapers of the time period when he was living, late 19th century, early 20th century, his poetry was in all of the major news magazines, all magazines, all newspapers of the time period.
One of the great things about community, wherever you are, is that they look back and they celebrate those who've done well. And Effingham, the area around here, is an area that's particularly rich in people who have done well in their lives and done important things. And I think as we look at the success that we have today, it's impossible to separate that from the tone that was set 100 or 150 years ago, and that's something to celebrate.
When we try to figure out why did these individuals with the brilliant minds flourish within Effingham County through the years. And we still have brilliant minds in Effingham County that are flourishing in the present. Very creative people, I think, we have in Effingham County. And if we try to account for that, again, I think it goes back to the fundamental values of having a very strong base within family and faith. Those two work hand in hand with each other, because both of them will emphasize to the people who are involved the fact that there are people who have a belief in them. They can do it. It's that can-do spirit that oftentimes will arise out of personal faith or encouragement that comes from family.
If we let the pieces of who we were slip away, then it's difficult to really understand the context of who we are and who we want to be. So it is a good thing, a good and noble thing to preserve, to celebrate, to learn from who we were. And a place like the courthouse is a great example of that.
If we look at the worst case scenario, and in my opinion the worst case scenario would be to demolish this building, then we have a parking lot. And if we have a parking lot, we use we really lose our identity of place, of purpose, of who we are. This building, in my 30-some years that I've lived here, represents to me the icon of Effingham County. It is Effingham County. If we lose that, then we lose a sense of our community soul and our county soul as I see it.